Panicked voices echoed under the dawn sky as guns leveled at the healer in his arms beneath a wooden scaffold. 8 hours earlier, he had been brewing coffee by the barn stove. Coffee and gunpowder hung in the cool air. He tasted dust and fear on his tongue. A pistol's hammer clicked in his hand. He had sworn off bloodshed long ago, but Dawn's promise now tested that vow. He had once known peace on a morning like this. Now each tick of the lantern clock chased sunrise closer. Could he reach the scaffold in time to stop this nightmare? The kitchen was deathly quiet as cast-iron stove spat embers into the last light. Luke wiped grease off his hands, tension knotting his gut. His old friend Sam burst in from the rain, boots splattering muddy water and breathless news. "They're coming," he panted. Steam from Luke's coffee curled toward the barn rafters, mixing with the smell of boiled potatoes and bacon. Outside, horses whinnied and hoofbeats drummed on the soaked ground. "They've branded the healer a witch," Sam said, voice low. "Reverend Rourke leads a mob hunting her through the woods." A sharp knock on the door split the air. Luke's hand fell to the pistol at his hip. The wooden panel rattled under a boot's kick. "Hide!"
"Ah!" Luke hissed. A shadow fell behind him. Lily stumbled in, soaked and trembling, smelling of smoke and rain. Her dress was torn. Soot streaked her cheeks. She cradled a small kitten whose whiskers were singed black. Luke's breath hitched. Her fingers trembled around the kitten's charcoal smoke scent.
The W branded on Lily's arm gleamed in the lantern light, a scorched X marking her an accused witch. "Quiet now," Luke whispered, stepping in front of Lily. "Get low." He shoved a heavy table across the doorway. Nails groaned under the impact. Lily pressed herself low as Luke caught his breath. Steam from the stove mingled with gunpowder smoke in the cramped room. "Why?" Lily whimpered, voice raspy. She traced the brand on her arm. "Why do they hunt me?" Sam peered through a crack in the wood. "They've brought torches and guns," he said. "Rourke's men have horses out front." Luke's heart thundered in his chest. Thunder rumbled beyond the ridge. Only hours remained before dawn. Lily's eyes locked on his. Luke remembered the vow he'd sworn long ago. Never draw blood again. Now the dawn hung at his back, and the choice was his. Will he break it to save her? Moonlight danced through pine branches as Luke led the horse down the muddy trail. Lily rode behind, white-knuckled on the saddle horn. They needed refuge before dawn. Years ago, a gentle parson named Jacobs had taught Luke the power of mercy in a lean-to church hidden in these woods. Luke rode with that memory guiding him. An owl hooted in the darkness. Luke felt sweat bead on his brow as fear trembled through his chest.
Lily shivered, rain seeping through her thin shawl. Torches winked between the trees ahead. Rourke's posse flanked 2 struggling prisoners, women cursing and slapping at guard belts. Lily gasped. One prisoner carried a satchel of herbs. Rourke kicked her into the mud. "Your witchcraft killed my cow," he barked.
Her cry echoed through the trees. Luke cursed softly. Sam glanced back with unease, remembering Jacob's words of peace. They slipped by unnoticed. Up ahead, a thin column of smoke trailed from a distant cabin, the old parsonage. Luke glanced at Lily. She shivered, wrapping herself tighter. Sam guided their horses through knee-high ferns. Lily whispered, "Will Jacobs help us, Sam?" Sam squeezed her shoulder. "For now, we trust his house. He'll know what to do. Sam said. They crossed a small creek, water lapping at hooves as they approached Jacob's cabin. Inside, a warm fire glowed. Jacobs had lit a lantern on a wooden table and piled blankets on the floor. "Luke," Jacobs whispered, eyes bright in the firelight, "I hoped you'd come." Lily gently set her kitten down. Jacobs smiled. "You did well to get this far. Stay down, child," he said, patting Lily's shoulder. He handed Luke a worn Bible. "Remember," he said softly, "violence only begets violence." A sudden crash shattered the quiet as Rourke's men burst through the door, guns raised. Luke fired a warning shot, but Jacobs fell, crimson blossoming across his shirt. "No!" Lily screamed. Luke froze, pistol still in hand. His lifelong promise lay broken. What would he do now? Subscribe now to witness if he'll save Lily before dawn. Luke bolted into the pine forest, Lily close at his heels. They stumbled into a hollow, under a great fir, breathless. Moonlight slanted through the needles. The air was bone cold now. Sweat on Luke's brow stiffened on his skin. He tasted bitter blood and gunpowder on his tongue, heart pounding. Luke dropped to the ground with Lily. The kitten chirped softly. He stared down at Jacob's Bible pressed to his chest. The promise he'd made had shattered, his faith in mercy undone. Luke shook, fear and guilt flooding him. Memories of old gang fights resurfaced. He had run from that world. Now, Jacobs was dead because of him. "Forgive me," he muttered. Lily curled against his side, trembling. Her tears wet his shirt. "Why did it come to this?" Luke whispered, voice raw. Lily looked up into his eyes. She rocked the little kitten in her arms. "I was just a healer, not a witch," she said, voice cracked. Slowly, she unwrapped a rag from her wrist, a raw burn scar in the shape of an X, the same as the brand on her arm. Lily confessed, voice shaking. "My mother taught me herb lore. Fire cured her fever when doctors failed. They called me a witch after I saved a baby from the plague, so I ran." Luke's eyes widened with sorrow. He placed a hand on her arm. "You saved lives," he said softly. "That's no crime." Lily nodded, tears falling down her cheeks. "You swore not to kill," she reminded him, "but now look." Distant hoofbeats echoed through the forest. Luke's fingers clenched around the pistol. Moonlight glinted on its metal. Was their nightmare over? Or just the calm before dawn's horror? Luke looked back the way they had come. The cabin smoke was gone. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. He reached down and gently cupped Lily's face. "You're safe now," he promised. Lily nodded, eyes glazing over with exhaustion. The kitten nestled against his side. He felt its warm heartbeat. Somewhere far off, a wolf bayed. Luke and Lily hugged each other, grateful to be alive. Luke opened his eyes and saw the first gray of morning approaching. Rain and thunder exploded overhead as Luke and Sam burst from the cabin into the storm. Lightning seared the sky. Rourke's men blocked the doorway, rifles raised. Sam leveled a shotgun. "Stay back!" he roared, boots plunging into the mud. Two gunmen staggered at the threat. Luke fired beside him, pistol spitting flame. Smoke curled from the barrel. One thug's jacket blossomed red as he fell. A dozen more surged from the darkness. Gunpowder stung Luke's nose. Rourke charged at them with a shotgun in hand. Luke dropped to the ground. Mud squelched in his boots. Sam's blast tore into Rourke's shoulder. The man screamed and staggered off into the trees. Another gunman lunged out of the rain. Luke rolled and kicked him into a nearby fence. Wood splintered as the soldier fell. Sam pumped shells into his rifle, firing off 2 quick shots. 2 of Rourke's men crumpled against the soaked wall. Lily pressed against the cabin wall, eyes wide. "Luke!" she gasped. Her kitten whimpered at her feet. Luke's heart thundered in his chest. He could feel every drop of rain soaking through his shirt. He took in deep, ragged breaths as adrenaline coursed through his veins. He glanced at Sam, meeting his gaze in the blinding storm. Thunder rattled the wooden structure behind them. Splinters rained from the roof as bullets smashed into wood. Luke saw Sam's face, lit by gunfire, determined, exhausted. He shouted, "Move, Lily!" Rainwater sluiced down Luke's forehead, mixing with the blood on his cheek. As Rourke's silhouette vanished into the trees, Luke lowered his gun slightly. Sam gave a weary nod. Lily rushed forward and flung her arms around Luke. The storm began to abate. Then a flash of lightning turned night to day. Luke and Sam stood alone in the glade. Rourke was gone. Luke holstered his pistol. Lily clung, safe but still shaking. Was dawn mercy or vengeance to come? Silence draped the drenched forest at pre-dawn. Luke loosened Lily's wet shawl around her shoulders. Lightning flickered, then faded into darkness. Ahead, a figure stepped from the trees. A man Luke knew too well. Jonah, an old outlaw brother. His face was hard, gun leveled at Luke's chest. "You think you're a god now?" Jonah spat. "My brother Jacob's never hurt a soul, but you turned him to dust." Jonah jerked Lily forward, pressing the barrel under her chin. "Answer me, holy man. Will you protect her now?" Luke's breath caught. Sweat mixed with rain in his hair. He stood frozen, heart torn. Jonah glared. "Righteous words? What now, preacher?" Gun smoke drifted. Lily whimpered as Jonah's finger tensed on the trigger. Time slowed. Dawn tiptoed over the trees. Luke remembered Jacob's gentle voice. Mercy, trust, that word he had taught him. "You swore on the Bible," Jonah sneered. "Here's your test." Luke's lungs burned. If he shot, Lily would die. If he did nothing, Lily would die anyway. An owl called to the new light. He whispered, "God forgive me." Then Luke snapped, "Drop it." He shouted. Luke fired. The shot cracked. Jonah's body convulsed, then went limp. Lily yelled and ran to Luke. Dawn burst through the pine needles as silence fell. Lily wrapped her arms around him, trembling. Luke stepped back and knelt beside Jonah's body, Bible heavy in his pocket, heart pounding. He closed his eyes and bowed his head, whispering a prayer over the fallen man. The forest lay quiet as Luke looked to the sky. He wept softly in the mud, feeling the weight of what he'd done. It was done, but at what price? Dawn crept over a deserted campsite as Luke, Lily, and Sam rode up. Dew glistened on their dusty boots. They reached the edge of town at sunrise. Villagers were stacking logs by a crude scaffold in the square. A handful of farmers and ex-soldiers stood grimly around the half-built gallows. Luke dismounted, Lily's hand in his. He stepped forward, pistol holstered at his side. Sam stood behind him, shotgun ready. "What is this madness?" Luke shouted. The townsfolk turned, eyes wary. Mayor Douglas sneered, spitting tobacco. "Justice at last," he growled. A woman held Lily's charred kitten at arm's length, dawn light glinting on its blackened fur. Luke raised Jacob's Bible high. "Healer or witch, judge not by brands but by deeds," he bellowed. Jacobs would not have blessed this. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Douglas ground his teeth. "Your bullet killed Judge Harper," he spat. "Why shouldn't she hang?" Lily's voice trembled as she spoke. "I saved children from the fever. They lived." Faces in the crowd flickered with doubt. Sam fired a warning shot into the ground. Luke leveled his gun at the ropes. "If anyone moves now, Lily dies." An old foreman stepped forward, raising Douglas's Bible. "Jacobs taught mercy, not murder," he said softly. The mob froze. Luke lowered his pistol. Sam and Lily joined him. He opened the Bible. "Even as my sons fell, my father still embraced them." Old Mr. Harris stepped toward Luke. "He said we should hear the other side first," the elder man began, voice shaking. Luke nodded once. He motioned Lily down from the horse. A young father stepped forward. His son had been one of Lily's patients. "She saved my boy's life," he declared quietly. Murmurs grew. Several faces looked away in shame. Luke felt his resolve stiffen. If he had to, he'd stand trial in any court. He pulled Lily close. "I'll protect you," he promised. She nodded through tears. A church bell chimed, and golden light flooded the square. Justice would have to wait. Luke exhaled. Lily clung, safe but still shaking. Was dawn mercy or vengeance to come? Stay tuned to witness Luke's final choice. Shaken, Luke walked with Lily down the empty road under the morning sun. Beside him, Sam rode watchful on horseback. Quiet dew still clung to grass and fallen leaves. They crested a hill overlooking the silent town. The gallows sat empty in the square. Luke exhaled slowly, the weight lifting from his shoulders. Lily squeezed his hand. "Thank you," she whispered. Her tears of fear had turned to gratitude. They stopped by the ruined churchyard where Jacobs was buried. Luke knelt, running fingers through damp earth over the simple grave. His old Bible lay open on his lap. "I owe him everything," Luke murmured. He pressed the Bible closed, its leather cover cool under his palm. A breeze fluttered the page. Lily placed a warm mug of coffee beside them. Its steam curled upward. The sweet, burnt aroma reminded Luke of mornings at the cabin. Sam polished his knife quietly. In the calm dawn, every small sound echoed. An owl's distant hoot, the clip of Sam's blade, a crow's distant caw. Lily leaned her head on Luke's shoulder. "Is this really over now?" she asked softly. Luke looked toward the rising sun, eyes tired but steady. He placed a wildflower on Jacobs's grave. "Over or not," he said quietly, "we're alive, and that has to count." He squeezed Lily's hand. Luke took a slow sip of his coffee, feeling its warmth fill him. The morning smelled of new beginnings. Luke mounted his horse. "Let's go home," he told Lily. They passed the empty gallows one last time. Luke tossed a handful of wildflower seeds into the air, a small promise to rebuild what was lost. Lily smiled faintly. "For Jacobs," she said. An eagle wheeled overhead, calling out. Together they rode toward a new day. All that remained was faith, and the questions that dawn had not answered.